More than 13 million Americans are out of work. If you factor in those considered underemployed, that's almost 25 million men and women in this country, somewhere on the road to either getting by financially or suffering. We spent time with people who are finding a way to support their families by asking their children to work beside them. Farming is the one job in America where kids as young as 12 are welcomed, and for their parents, children in the fields are needed.
The story will continue in a moment.
The Texas Plains, 5:30 a.m.
Morning.
Carlos Caceres gets his two sons ready for the long day ahead. They've come 350 miles from their home in Eagle Pass, Texas, to weed the cotton fields south of Lubbock. Cody is 13, Carlos Jr., 17. What happens if it rains?
We don't work. It's a day loss, because we don't get paid unless we're out here. If it rains, no pay. No work, no pay.
In the summer, the boys work alongside their father, work he did when he was their age. All three earn $7.25 an hour, the minimum wage. How many years have you been doing this?
This is my fourth year.
Fourth year?
Yeah.
It's hard for the kids, but,
Hard how?
It's long, 10 hours for them to work, out in the sun. It's hot, and getting up every morning at 5:30 in the morning just to go to work.
What were your dreams when you were your son's age, when you were 13, 17 years old?
Be a truck driver. My dad was a truck driver. I mean, he had his own truck, and that's what I wanted to do, have my own trucks.
It's a dream that came true for Caceres. Born and raised in Texas, he supported his family for 15 years as an independent truck driver. He bought his own home. But when the economy went bad and trucking became less profitable, he went back to the fields.
I got to do something, and that's the only thing I'm qualified for, because that's what I've done all my life.
Pick fruit.
Yeah.
Pick vegetables.
Yeah.
The recession put the Caceres family back in what's called the migrant stream, the yearly flow of farm workers from Texas, Florida, and California moving north with the harvest. It's the life his parents and grandparents had before him. Now Carlos is with his siblings and their kids. Sunday is the one day of the week when these children can be children. And then there's Monday through Saturday, right? What happens then?
Work. Every day.
Every day. How many hours do you work every day?
10.
10 hours a day? How old are you?
15.
15. And you work 10 hours a day too?
Yeah.
You work 10 hours a day. And how old are you?
13.
13 years old. Do you like this work?
No.
Why not?
Because it's always hot.
Armando is 12. Why do you do this kind of work?
To help my parents, to buy us clothes and school supplies.
So the school year, they can be boys.
Yeah.
But in the summertime?
They become men, like me, work out here in the fields.
Together, he says, they can earn $10,000 to $12,000 in a good summer. That's about as much as he makes driving a truck the rest of the year. How important is it to your family that you guys work?
They say it's very important, so we can help them off, pay the bills and everything.
And they're helping in the one place that younger kids can, the farm. The minimum age for most industries in America is 16. But in agriculture, children as young as 12 can be hired to do farm work. Outside of school, they can work unlimited hours.
It's hard, and it breaks my heart for them to be, for me to have them out here like that.
For those who would say that 13-year-old boys and 12-year-old boys shouldn't have to do this kind of work,
then what would I do? Where would I live? What would I give my kids? What would they wear? What would they eat?
you love farming.
Yeah, I love farming. It's a noble act if you do it right.
Like Carlos Caceres, Jeff Darnell, a grower in North Carolina, is also under financial strain. Americans want their fruit and vegetables inexpensive.
As cheap as that they can make, and they want the best.
Small farmers like Darnell have not been spared in this economy.
Hello? Come on.
During our visit, he took a phone call from his bookkeeper.
You got me worried. She intends to foreclose.
Behind on his mortgage, Darnell could lose the family farm. He says it's one more reason why he needs abundant, cheap labor to pick his tomato crop.
If I'm going to eat constantly fresh fruit and vegetables, I need to realize there are people that have got to produce that stuff, and there are people that are having to pick it, that are not on the high side of society. They're not living in the Hamptons. But if I don't have them people, you won't have that stuff here.
Darnell hires about 50 farm workers at the peak of the harvest. Most come from Mexico and Central America, like this 16-year-old. She's been working in the fields since she was 13. In your opinion, should a 12-year-old child be doing this kind of work? 12, 13, 14-year-old child?
A 14-year-old child, 12-year, I mean, if they're out here helping me move an irrigation pipe, I don't see anything wrong with it.
But picking tomatoes, picking strawberries.
I picked when I was 12, worked for $1 an hour. It was hard, but it didn't hurt me. It's not going to hurt your kids to work. And work's going to help them down the road.
Norma Flores Lopez isn't so sure of that. She works for the Association of Farm Worker Opportunity Programs. It provides training and education to farm workers nationally. She'd like to see children out of the fields through changes in the law.
We still believe in the value of kids growing up and learning how to be able to earn money. But we feel that at the age of 12 is really, really young. The same way we feel at the age of 12 is really young in any of the other industries.
A century ago, child labor in the U.S. was commonplace, from sweatshops and factories to mines. The Fair Labor Standards Act was passed in 1938. It took children under 16 out of most workplaces for their safety and welfare. The one exception was agriculture. Back then, most farms were small family operations, and child labor was considered necessary. Today, the number of children legally working on farms is only guessed at. The U.S. Department of Labor says it might be as high as 155,000.
We don't advocate young children working in sweatshop conditions, whether it's a factory or the farm.
Frank Gasparini is Executive Vice President of the National Council of Agricultural Employers. It's a Washington lobby that represents fruit and vegetable growers. Why is it still necessary to have children working on farms at all?
In terms of productivity, it probably isn't. In terms of opportunities for the children, I think it is still very valuable. There are a lot of good, safe jobs for 12 and 13-year-olds that give them an opportunity to have early work experience, to earn some money, and sometimes that's very important for their families.
It was important to Norma Flores Lopez and her family. She started working in cornfields at the age of 12.
This was in the middle of July, and you're out there 10 to 12 hours. I would work close to 80 hours a week during the peak of the season, and we would work probably about 3 weeks straight without any days off.
So for you, there was nothing romantic about working in the fields as a child?
There wasn't. I mean, you make best of what you got out there and make it as enjoyable as you possibly can, but the truth is it's hard work. It's hard, grueling work for very little pay.
Health insurance?
Unheard of.
Overtime?
Doesn't happen.
Any kind of benefits?
Absolutely not.
After enduring the heat and hard work, Caceres' sons, Cody and Carlos Jr., end their day here, a migrant camp.
They do need a little work. The wall, see?
The walls move, the roof leaks, and they sleep 3 to a room. They do it not because they want to, and not just because they have to. They do it to help their father. And they do it with a dignity that belies their age.
It's like a teenager's right to kind of gripe about life and be dissatisfied with the things they have to do. But you guys seem okay with it.
I really don't complain because I work for what I get and I see how hard it is to get what you actually want. So I really don't complain about anything. I know if we can't have something, but it's okay.
You're okay with it?
Yeah.
Caceres says most of his weekly paycheck goes to cover food and rent. This place costs $50 a week. The family's livelihood depends on what the boys earn. Because without them, you wouldn't make any money.
No, because it would all go here. It's like if I would leave them over there back home, what money would I send them?
On this day, their earnings were cut short due to rain. Potentially, how much money could you lose today?
Oh. About $40 a piece.
Can you make that money up at some point?
See, well, yeah, but I would have to work on Sundays. And that's what the day that I like to, give this, the day off to my kids.
Cody, Carlos Jr., and their cousins are the fourth generation in their family to work the farm fields of America. Their parents don't want there to be a fifth.
That's the reason they bring us here, is to see how hard it is. It's better just finish college, they tell us. Be easier.
Get an education.
Yeah. But getting that education can be a struggle. Government studies show that young farm workers drop out of school at 4 times the national average. And the boys face not only statistics, but a tough economy. Despite the odds and the obstacles, they still believe. What do you dream of? What do you want to do when you finish school?
I want to be a vet.
A veterinarian. How about you, man?
A football player or a lawyer?
A football player or a lawyer? Okay. So you guys really do believe you're going to college?
Yes. Yeah.
That you're not going to do this kind of work?
No, sure.
So you're going to break that cycle?
Yes, we are.
Yeah?
New generation.
Sorry?
Make a new generation.
You believe in hard work?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. And it'll pay one day. When I see my kids, if they go to college and become something, that's when that'll be my reward.